Winston, you have to give me a minute. I have to gather myself. Get the lyrics in front of me and everything, and then I'll deliver. Don't you worry.
Anyway, don't you worry. Let's get into the headlines. I love that. And we're starting with political stories. The Daily Graphic says Mahama Jogbenukunu file nominations, resist endorsing aspirants. That's Asante Hene cautioning chiefs. The Chronicle says Nana has cleared his way for 4 more years. That's according to the Talency chief. And vote Akufo-Addo to protect Ghana's gains. And also on the front page, we will do government business, but not at the peril of our survival as MPs. That's the minority leader. And he actually talks about a proverb in Dagomba that says, you need to have your head on before you can chew corn.
I see.
And so they need to also think about their survival as MPs.
Before they can.
It's time for elections.
I see.
And the Daily Statesman says, let's not return to the bad Mahama days. Bawumia urges electorate to retain Akufo-Addo to protect Ghana's gains, and Talency endorses Akufo-Addo's second-term bid.
All right, let me stay with what Bawumia has been saying. He says Mahama's government symbolizes a bad marriage. Veep punches, that's on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. Carlos submits nomination forms to EC as he heightens campaign in Tema West constituency. In team launches street campaign to support 4 more for Akufo-Addo. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, former President Mahama, PPP flag bearer, filed nomination forms for 2020 polls. And of course, you can expect that there was a little bit of drama. I'll be telling you about that a little later on. Paulugu Irrigation Dam will bring socio-economic transformation. The president assures we believe that. The problem is how long will it take until it's actually up and running. On the front page of the Business Finder,
we believe that.
We believe that it will bring socio-economic transformation.
Yes. We do.
But the problem is when it will. Because the timelines have moved, haven't they? Due to many different contradictory reasons. Yes, indeed.
From COVID to flood to...
Okay. On the front page of the Business Finder, government send power sign agreement to secure $3 billion in cost savings. And that's about it for politics that I have.
Right, so let's get to the economy. And the Chronicle says, I grew economy by $14 billion. That's according to John Mahama.
That's it? Oh, okay. I have BOG descends on money doublers, warns public against their activities. That's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. The Business Finder is reporting pensioners not worse off, Smith declares, and our customers will remain our priority. That's according to the ADB MD.
What a sign of the times that the Bank of Ghana has to warn Ghanaians against money doublers.
Yeah.
Like you need to be warned against money doublers. Money
doublers and credit card loaders. I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we're done with the headlines. Do you have any other stories?
No, that's
okay,
it.
Well, the GHS is affirming harmlessness of polio vaccine. That's on the back page of the Ghanaian Times. These same vaccines apparently were used in Nigeria and India, and there were a bit of problems with it. I'm on that. I'll be bringing you more later on, just following that story. 2 jailed ATS for stealing cash from bullion van. That's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And that's it for the headlines.
Right, let's do the online review. It's brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. Now, I've got one online story, but I'll do them after yours, Winston.
Yes, so the My Joy Online says affirmative action bill to be passed in 2021. That's according to Gender Minister Cynthia Morrison.
PM Express yesterday. Oh, it was nice. It was something else. Did you watch it?
When you get bits and pieces, I was dozing. When you can set your own questions and answers.
I'm telling you, and it was wow. It was something.
It reminds me of information retrieval at the University of Cape Coast when my Baba swept me. I said my own questions.
And you wrote
is there anything from it we can play back today?
I mean.
Lots.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so.
And so on My Joy Online, Minority Leader demands suspension of Parliament as only 16 MPs show up. So they're campaigning for elections.
They're campaigning.
You see? CityNewsroom.com says, I'll ensure strict enforcement of anti-vigilantism law. That's according to President Akufo-Addo. And on BBC Africa says, why coronavirus has been less deadly in Africa. That's a must read.
That's an interesting. I want to know why as well.
Yeah,
actually.
Me too. Someone has figured it out.
Someone is figuring it out.
Okay.
I'll share with you shortly.
Okay.
Yo. All right. Well, I've got this story from skynews.com, and I thought you'd find it interesting. So it says, men with men with deep voices more likely to cheat. New research shows.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so the findings suggest that masculine men. Pardon? Isn't that how I talk? Winston, isn't that how we talk? You and I.
You talk. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. You dear.
Anyway, so the findings suggest that masculine men are more likely to cheat than feminine men, masculine and feminine in quotes. Okay, so this was done by Chongqing University, Southwest University in Chongqing, China. They conducted experiments with 116 men and 145 women. Their voice pitches were measured, and then they were asked questions about their attitudes to monogamy and commitment. And it turns out that men with deep voices just don't really agree with commitment and that sort of thing.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in mind.
All right. So have you found yourself a soprano?
Let's move on.
Okay.
So yesterday, former President Mahama, PPP flag bearer, went to file their nomination forms for the 2020 polls. And of course, as soon as we're talking about, EC, Mahama, Johnson, Asiedu Nketia has to, be present. So he's been speaking. And he's not very pleased. He says that despite efforts by the commission to frustrate the party through alleged manipulative electoral process, it will not be compelled to boycott the December polls. And this was because, apparently when they got to the EC, you know that you have to have assigned. So 2 people from every district have to have signed or have to have endorsed, and there's all those things. And there were bits of issues with those who had signed from the districts, because there were issues with their voter ID cards, because the voter ID cards in some areas are still being exhibited. And his point is that there are so many aspects of this process which are being rushed through. So there are some things that needed to have been finished. So the exhibition needs to be finished. This amount of days needs to have passed. But because we kind of rushed through getting this new voters register, so there are lots of these tiny issues anyway. So he was very, very annoyed about all of that and dealing with all of that. And then apparently the electoral commissioner then also was questioned why ex-President Mahama chose not to show up. And there's a section of our listeners who feel like, really just does not exacerbate the situation. If the representation that is needed is there to pick up, can you just let them pick up and go on and do what they're doing? Yeah. But I was also hearing about what went on Ekosi saying with Oman Indian.
Winston took a trip to the other side.
Where he was told that he was too diplomatic. Now, joy for this.
But Winston is diplomatic.
Winston is about to drop a proverb.
All right, go on.
You see, you didn't listen to it. Reported speech. So here I was, and
were you diplomatic or not?
I do not think I was diplomatic.
I see.
Omani had agreed with me earlier on a lot of things I had said. Then it gets to something I said in Nketia said, and I said, opinion in Kasadem. He felt that was being diplomatic, but no crying the opinion in Kasadem. Easy in Chamabo Franca, not Tiana de and Kenny. Now opinion I can't nessim of Frama when you're done. That's all I say.
You see certain things, they hurt more when you hear them in local language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say you are this, but I said opinion in Kasadem. If you are an elderly person, you're told opinion in Kasadem.
Charlie.
But there's a substantive issue here, so what had he done?
He had talked about how... Must I repeat that? Because I think that it was unfortunate. So I don't want to repeat
what Johnson has said.
Yes, I don't want to repeat something that I feel is very unfortunate.
You don't have to quote him, but maybe the subject matter?
It was about the secessionist attack and the politicization of it.
Right.
I don't want to repeat that.
All right, fair enough. You can go on the Facebook. Facebook.
Anyone came for me this morning. But
of course.
Let me just chip this one in. Because the 2-4 is, advising chiefs to desist from endorsing politicians.
Yes, a lot of them are, though. The newspapers this week, a lot of them are.
They are. But
including the Ochihine, right?
But yesterday we actually played the Ochihine's voice. Then let's look for that voice again, where he says that, look, he thinks that law is unfair.
But it's still there. It's still a law.
It's still there, but he says it is unfair.
That's fine. I'm always happy to hear his opinion.
Yeah, he says the law is unfair.
But that's the law.
Yeah, but he
right?
says it's unfair.
There are several other laws that I think should change. They're unfair. Like why is it why should you be criminally charged for attempting suicide? I don't think that's fair.
Yes, definitely.
But it's there. Right? It's right there. I think we can hear it, right? The Ochihene and his view that the law is unfair. Let's listen to him.
That is unfair. I have a problem with that because I didn't get this by government. Government is not paying me. This is family business. The people of Achim elected to do this. I'm not drawing any insurance or health care from central government. And if the job is in Accra and I want to apply, why should I give up my family stool? Unfair. Secondly, the active policy you're talking about, Winston, if a party is campaigning and in their manifesto, they write, we are going to engage and encourage gay marriages. I sit here and a party has that in the manifesto. Or better yet, a party says that we will continue to give small-scale miners license to mine. You want to tell me because the Constitution says that I cannot engage in active policy, I would tell my fellow, my people, don't vote for this party. Because it's a disaster to have gay marriages. But in their constitution, they wanted to shut up, not say anything publicly. I can't call people privately and tell them that this is what they're going to do, so vote against them. I need to hold it ever. It depends. I mean, it's I don't understand. The ones about the civil servants, I do understand. They draw their paycheck from central government. So you cannot hold central government pay a job and take a pay and still try to apply for another job. We are not there. I buy my own petrol. I don't ask government to give me anything. So if I decide, or any of my chiefs decide that, well, I think I'll be better serve my people if I become an MP. You are saying he can't, but he has to give up what his family's property. I think that's unfair, but it's in the Constitution. Until we change that, we'll see.
Now that's fascinating. Like I said, it's always good to hear the Ochihene's opinion, or anybody's opinion. That's what the platform is for. Later, I want us to now move this to the next level because this is his opinion. There are others who will agree with it. There are others who won't. Let's have that discussion and then see if that discussion could then lead to a decision about this law, whether it should stay or whether it should go. Because if indeed it is an unfair law, we ought to do something about it. Laws are made for people. Am I right?
Yes, they are.
So later on the show, when we have Political Thursday, this is one of the issues we are going to bring up. Should chiefs be allowed to engage in active partisan politics? And we'd love to hear all the views on it, including this one from the Ochihene. Do you agree? In fact, it's fascinating because I have a view as well. I mean, nobody might be interested, but I also think that there should be no reason why a chief ought to be banned from engaging in partisan politics. But my reason is different from the Ochihene's. You know, I don't think if you are paid, then if you are paid a salary, then your view and opinion should be taken away from you. And if you're not paid by government, then you have the right to engage in politics. If that was the case, then only private companies or people who are not employed by government would be able to participate in politics. But as you know, politics is done by people who are very often, at least half of them, paid by government. Am I right? Yeah,
well,
I mean,
lots of them,
MPs,
some of them are paid by
MPs are paid by government.
Yeah, but before they got into politics, they were paid by government. There were a lot of people who were paid by government. We've seen them, getting involved in politics.
But there are MPs campaigning today.
Exactly.
Are they not paid by government?
His point was, for the civil servants, those who are now getting into politics. So for those who are in it already and have become members of parliament, they can always go back. But for those who are, say, civil servants, public servants, and they want to get into politics, he agrees. I mean, they have to resign.
Well, so we'll have a conversation about it. Who should have a right to engage in partisan politics, and more importantly, who should not? Who should not? What does the Constitution say? Does it require amendment? That's the discussion later. All right. The online review is brought to you every morning by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy. We'll tell you a bit more about those two in a bit. Right now, though, it's time for us to go for the BBC News. We're back after these.
You want your business faster? Need to bank on a fast track. Only need your phone. Follow small instructions.